You've been lied to about solitude, not by self-help gurus, not by Instagram quotes, by the Stoics themselves. Everyone sells you the same fantasy. Get alone, get quiet, find yourself. But here's what nobody tells you. When the silence gets deep enough, you don't find yourself. You meet the person your brain invents when it runs out of things to do. And that person is terrifying. Stay with me, because the 4 things I'm about to tell you will completely rewire how you think about being alone. And one of them nearly broke a decorated US Navy Admiral alone in Antarctica with no enemies, no danger, just silence. What really happens when the noise stops? In 1934, Admiral Richard Byrd volunteered for something insane. He asked to be stationed alone, completely alone, at a weather outpost in Antarctica. No team, no radio contact most of the time, just ice, instruments, and silence. 5 months. He went in thinking it would be clarifying, restorative. A Stoic's dream. He was wrong. Within weeks, his journal entries started getting strange. He described his thoughts turning inward and feeding on themselves. He started losing the boundary between what was real and what his mind was generating. He heard sounds that weren't there. He saw patterns that meant nothing. The Admiral wasn't weak. He wasn't mentally ill. He was starved. His brain, without external input, started manufacturing experience. It began cannibalizing itself. Here's the neuroscience. Your brain is a prediction machine. It runs constantly. It needs input to calibrate against reality. Without it, it doesn't shut down. It hallucinates. It fills the void with noise it creates. And modern Stoicism has completely missed this. They'll tell you solitude is a luxury, a discipline, a reward for the focused mind. But real solitude, unstructured, raw, extended, isn't peaceful. It's a stress test with no examiner. Byrd survived it, but he came out changed. He wrote later that he understood something most men never would. Solitude isn't about finding yourself. It's about surviving the version of yourself your brain generates when external reality stops correcting it. Most people can't sit alone for 20 minutes without grabbing their phone. That's not weakness. That's biological self-preservation. The pull to the phone is your brain saying, I need calibration. Feed me something real. So the next time someone romanticizes getting off the grid, understand what they're actually signing up for. Not peace, a negotiation with a mind that will not stop talking. And here's what's wild. That internal voice, the one that shows up in the silence, most people think they're hearing truth when they hear it. They're not. They're hearing a performance. And that's exactly what we need to talk about next. You think you're alone. You're not. Here's a question most people never ask themselves. When you're alone, who are you performing for? Most people say, no one. That's the point. Wrong. The second you sit down to work in silence, something activates. An internal judge. It watches everything. It evaluates every choice. It grades your focus, your output, your discipline. And here's the brutal part. That judge is never satisfied. You've seen it. You sit down to read. 30 seconds in, the judge says, shouldn't you be journaling? Journaling is more productive. You start journaling. The judge says, this is self-indulgent. Real Stoics acted, not wrote. You can't win. Because the judge isn't after truth. It's after dominance. Modern productivity culture made it worse. We've turned alone time into a performance metric. Deep work, flow states, morning routines posted for the world. Even when no one's watching, you're building the highlight reel in your head. You're shadowboxing with an imaginary critic. And this is the part Stoicism gets almost right, but misses the landing. Stoics will tell you to ignore external opinion. Marcus Aurelius practically built a career on it. Don't seek approval, don't perform for the crowd. Good advice. But nobody told Marcus about the crowd inside the skull. That crowd is louder, more ruthless. and it never clocks out. Real Stoic strength, actual mental discipline, isn't about avoiding external judgment. It's about firing the internal judge entirely, not ignoring it, not managing it, firing it. That means sitting in stillness and producing nothing, and feeling zero guilt. That means making a decision in solitude with no internal applause. That means being alone without narrating the experience to the imaginary audience in your head. That's not solitude as we practice it. That's solitude as surgery, and almost nobody is doing it. But here's the thing about surgery. You need to hear what's broken before you can fix it. And most people have never actually listened. Because real listening, the kind that shows you your own mechanical failures, that requires a specific kind of quiet, the kind that makes most people want to run. When the quiet gets loud enough to hear yourself fail. There's a room in Minneapolis, Orfield Laboratories. They built it to measure sound. It's called an anechoic chamber. The walls absorb 99.99% of sound. It is the quietest place on Earth, and no one has lasted more than 45 minutes in it alone. You know what you hear in there? Your own heartbeat. The sound of blood moving through your body, the mechanical noise of your lungs filling and emptying. Most people find it unbearable. Not because it's painful, because it's accurate. You hear exactly what's there. Nothing is masked, nothing is softened. Now apply that to character. Real solitude, Stoic solitude, the kind they actually practiced, is an anechoic chamber for the self. Strip away distraction. Strip away the noise of social feedback, of validation, of performance. What's left? You hear your mechanical failures, the jealousy you don't admit to, the fear you've rebranded as caution, the laziness you've dressed up as strategy. That stuff is always running, like a bad process in the background eating your RAM. You just can't hear it because the world is loud. This is why Seneca was brutal about solitude. Not because he wanted quiet, because he wanted diagnosis. He wrote, "A person who knows themselves knows their flaws. A person who avoids solitude never will." But here's what modern self-help will never tell you. Diagnosis is only useful if you can handle the findings. Most people sit in silence, hear something they don't like, and immediately open Instagram. They are stepping into the anechoic chamber and then slamming the door behind them. This is the actual discipline, not entering the silence. Staying in it long enough to hear the failure, name it, and not run from it. That's what Bird was doing in Antarctica, even when it nearly broke him. That's what real Stoic practice looks like. And it doesn't require a silent room. It doesn't even require a cabin in the woods. Because the most radical truth about solitude is this: the location was never the point. You don't need a mountain. You need a patch. In the 4th century, hundreds of men left the cities of Egypt and Syria. They went into the desert. They became the Desert Fathers. And here's what most people assume. They were escaping the world, hiding from people, running toward quiet. Wrong. Many of them lived in communities, packed, noisy human communities. But they practiced what theologians later called interior solitude, the ability to be completely alone inside while surrounded by people. They weren't looking for a geographical address. They were installing a software patch. And this distinction is everything. Because modern solitude culture is obsessed with conditions. The right cabin, the right journal, the right morning, the right absence of people. But if you can only access mental stillness when the environment is perfect, you don't have a skill, you have a dependency. Real discipline, the Stoic version, is portable. Marcus Aurelius wrote meditations while running military campaigns, surrounded by soldiers, politics, death. He didn't need a mountain. He needed the patch. Here's what interior solitude actually means in practice. It means standing in a packed subway and not needing the noise to fill you. It means sitting in a loud office and having a quiet interior regardless. It means being in a conversation and having a layer of stillness beneath it. That stillness isn't distance. It's not coldness. It's not dissociation. It's sovereignty. And you build it the same way Bird built it, the same way the Desert Fathers built it, by repeatedly entering the silence, internal or external, and not letting what you hear there destroy you. Not running from the internal judge. Firing it. Not escaping the anechoic chamber, staying until you've heard what's broken. Not searching for yourself in solitude, surviving the person your brain invents. That's the practice. Not a personality type, not a luxury, not a location, a skill. One most people will spend their whole lives avoiding because the thing waiting in the silence, it's them. And most people are not ready to meet themselves. Are you?